I'm excited to be able to share with you today one of my history heroes, John Ray, the wildly under-recognised polar explorer. He was a man who not only mapped large areas of the Arctic coastline, largely on foot in the mid-19th century, but one who also possessed incredible attributes of endurance in cold weather survival. He is also the man who discovered what happened to the ill-fated Franklin expedition. My question is, if John Ray was so fantastic, then why do so many of the history books fail to mention him? John Ray was born in the Orkney Islands off the coast of northern Scotland in 1813. Whilst growing up on this isolated island, Ray honed his hunting and his sailing skills. These were to come in handy later in his life. He went off to study medicine in Edinburgh. He was based for 10 years at a place called Moose Factory, Ontario, which was a trading post. Whilst at Moose Factory, he treated both employees of the Hudson's Bay Company and also local Indigenous peoples. In fact, he collaborated with local people to help him make his own pair of snowshoes. Ray learned vital cold climate survival skills from these local people. It was these skills, coupled with his expertise in hunting and his superhuman levels of stamina, which meant that Ray could travel great distances and be largely self-sufficient. He even learned how to build igloos. And this went against prevailing Victorian attitudes of the time, which largely viewed Indigenous peoples as primitive and well behind the modern technologies of the 19th century. Word started to get out about John Ray and his incredible skill set, and it wasn't long before he was chosen by the explorer and surveyor Sir George Simpson to assist on his overland expedition to help survey and map the Arctic coast. In 1847, Ray explored the Gulf of Boothia, seen here. A journey of some 1,200 miles, largely undertaken on snowshoes, dog sledges and boat. Ray was then asked to help search for the Franklin expedition. This was an expedition which set out in 1845 from Great Britain as part of the quest to find the fabled Northwest Passage. This was basically a sea lane between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, and it was thought to be a shortcut from Europe to Asia. This expedition was under the command of Sir John Franklin. Unfortunately, no word had been heard from the expedition in some time, and the worst was feared. Many search and rescue parties were sent out to find out what had happened to the expedition, and this included all the great and good of the polar explorers of the day. Sir John Franklin's wife Jane had heard about John Ray, and she asked him to take part in the search. In 1851, after travelling some 1,080 miles on land, 1,390 miles by boat, and charting some 630 miles on an unknown coast, Ray found the first traces of Franklin's missing ships. You can see here the newspaper report at the time which detailed Ray's finds.